So we are in the first week of the month of December. You can be able to see a little, a good decoration, and it looks a little different. I hope the week was good with you, all right? How was the week, sir?
It was excellent.
Oh my, good. He looks great today, you see. And that shirt is a little bit catchy for me. I don't know somehow.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm getting in the Christmas spirit.
Oh, is it so?
Yeah.
Jesus said, if we have two, give one for pastor. Okay.
No gray or blue today. Red.
Praise the Lord. Very nice. Okay. Any good news of the week? How was your week, Brother Adam?
It was a superior week.
Wow, that's so nice to hear about it. Amen. Okay. And I know, Brother, Reginald,
Staying home, so.
your wife is at home?
Yeah, home.
How is she doing? Okay?
She's good enough.
Okay.
She did come home.
Yeah, a little bit of rough edges, but I believe that the Lord will take care of it. And as we have a little hope and faith, we can pray for it. Okay? And, Brother Jeffery, how was your week?
It's okay.
It's
I
okay.
hurt my back doing nothing. This morning I asked my wife to
Have a little massage?
massage.
Okay.
It better, but still it aches.
Okay.
Thank God he gave me the strength to come to school.
So hopefully I'll be able to go to his house and have a little massage for him today. A little bit. Yeah, a little ups and downs, but still God is so gracious. I know this is a heritage been to Ohio, right? And most probably when I see that, I have a little apprehensive way of looking back, and I believe that God is in control and she'll be able to get you through. And Sister Amuda, any news from your lovely daughter?
She's doing fine.
She's doing fine?
Continue to pray for her.
We'll continue to pray for her too, okay? And then, of course, Sister Mary is the most happiest person of the whole universe in America. That's amen? Amen. That's nice, okay. Beautiful. Nice to have you all once again. Let's get into our mission report today, which is entitled as 3 Warnings in Abkhazia. That's what it means to say. Valentina Ditriumke intend to finding corn to bake. It's a flatbread called as lebyoshka for a family. Hurry to the outdoor market in a place called Abkhazia is the name of the place. You want to buy a little bit of corn to make a little bread called as lebyoshka. Okay, to our home family members in a place called Abkhazia, a breakaway region in the former Soviet Republic of Georgia. I don't know whether you've heard of this place. Okay, I have not heard about this place. When I looked into the map, it was somewhere in the very corner. She didn't have much money, and a months-long armed struggle in her hometown, Sukhumi is her hometown, and caused a severe food shortage. Valentina found a woman selling dried corn kernels from a cloth bag, but she didn't have enough money. Valentina stood silently and thought, how can I feed my family without having much of my money with me? Suddenly she felt someone tap on her left shoulder and she said, get away from here. And then she startled. She looked around to see if anybody is there. But nobody was there. And then Valentina stood puzzled for a moment, but her thought quickly returned to her husband, Pavel. He worked as a pastor in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And their 16-year-old daughter, Natasha, she looked at the woman with a precious corn. She had corn, but she didn't have money. How good is that corn? Again, she felt a tap on her shoulder the second time, telling, Vayana, please move away. Second time the tap came. Realizing something was wrong, she turned back. She's trying to contemplate, look around here and there, but no person. Suddenly, she saw a woman selling straw brooms. Okay, and asked, how much is it? And again, she felt the tap on her shoulder for the 3rd time. It says, Valia, get out now. Valentina fled. 2 minutes later, she heard a terrible whistle of an artillery shell flying over her head. And two more shells followed a quick succession. Valentina stopped dead in her tracks as a loud boom reverbered across the city center. Valentina saw a huge cloud of smoke and dust rising from the market. Tears taking down her cheeks as she ran home praying, God, thank you for saving me. But who am I? Who am I? Why did you protect me? Later, Valentina returned to the market and saw craters left by the blasts. Two craters marked the exact spots where she stood and looked longingly at the corn and the roots. Isn't that great? The exact place she was looking at the corn to buy. She had a tap and said, get away from here. She was looking, going forward, she saw a person, selling the straw rooms. Tap came, move away. Is not a God so mindful of his children. He might be not present every time, but he always is there to make sure that his children are absolutely safe. And as I recalling on the day of 1993, Valentina often thinks about Isaiah 43:2, where the Lord says, when you pass through the waters, listen to this one. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And through the rivers, they shall not overflow you. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned, nor shall the flame scorch you. Is that encouraging us today? We are going through a lot of waters, rivers, but the Lord is there. I put an end for that. Nothing will be able to what? Overtake you. Isn't that a blessing for each one of us today? May God bless each one of us as we go and pray on this. Okay, so let's get into our Sabbath school lesson today and hope that the Lord in his own infinite mercy will be able to speak to us. It's a beautiful topic that we have today. It is called as worshiping the Lord. What do you think so worship is all about? Huh? Giving praises to God. For what should we give praises to God? Everything?
Good and bad.
Good and bad. Okay, good and bad. Okay. Yes. Many times I used to think, why should we worship God? A lot of ideas. Can he has done something good for us? Right?
Somebody put it like this,
Ah.
God made human being.
Ah.
Absolutely.
He has made human beings to worship him. There has to be some reason, sir. Not for a reason, for a season. Worship is on a daily basis, every moment. That's what Enoch did. That's the reason he was called as a person who walked with God. The only thing he did was keep on worshiping and praising God. Amidst all the trials, difficulties, whatever it is, but still he praised God. I'm going to ask you a question once again. Why do you think so? Once again, I'm going to ask you. Why do you think so we have to worship God?
Created and sustainer.
Because he's a creator? Because he is sustained?
He's a redeemer.
He is a redeemer?
He's worthy.
So there is a reason for us to worship God, right?
Yeah, he said it beautifully. He's worthy. He's worthy.
Beautiful. And that's what it is all about. Not because he's a redeemer, not because he's a savior, not because he is a creator. We have to worship him because for what he is. And then comes what he is all about. Creator, redeemer, sustainer, where good happens, bad happens, whatever it is. You can't change God. God is what? God. Now who is God? Who is God? He is the Alpha and Omega. That's all we can say. There's no way that we can describe him. Can anyone describe God? Who can describe God? Nobody. You read the whole Bible from Genesis to Revelation. The description of God is only fragile human mind can acquire. That's all. They say he's like a fire. He's like this. He's like that. He's like this. That's all. You know. He has a wool. What do you call it? His head is like a wool. That's what he says. His face is like fire. His feet are like fire. That's all he can express. We don't know who God is all about. Can you know God? No, we can never know God unless we go to Him and then, have fellowship with Him. What all is given in the Word of God is absolutely very fragmented. Nothing much.
Nobody, except Adam and Eve, nobody's.
Except Adam and Eve, yes. Except Adam and Eve, I don't think so anybody has seen. Or is there any incidences that we find in the Bible that somebody has seen God?
Was self-glory. I think he had to cover himself.
Even Moses wanted to see Him, right? Okay, but he was unable to see. What about the disciples?
They saw Jesus.
They saw Jesus not in His divinity. If they were seeing Him in His divinity, that is God. They saw Him as a human, transcendent. So actually, if you have to come to a consensus, we can say that nobody has ever seen God. If nobody has ever seen God, what is that we are talking about God? Does that make sense? What is that we are talking about God? Let's get into the Sabbath school lesson, then we'll be able to find out who this God is all about. How the worship in those days, okay, they did it and how we do it now. And is it relevant? Is it applicable? Is that the way that we will be able to study a lot of things about the relevant? This is taken from, okay, and the sang responsibly praising and giving thanks to the Lord, for He is what? Good, and for His mercy endures forever towards Israel. So one thing that we have to worship God is for what? As we know, because He's worthy of our praises. Why do we think so? He is worthy of our praises? Because He has shown mercy for you and me that we don't deserve of. Does that make sense? Does it make sense? Look into this aspect of it. You know, the temple was built. When you think about the earthly temple, it is God's instruction, right? God told to Moses, make me a sanctuary that I may what? Come and dwell with them. So it was God who took the initiation to be a part of humanity, because He took the great opportunity to create you and me. Does that make sense? Number one. Number two, when the sanctuary was built, if you have to go and look into the records in the Old Testament, every article was designed by Him. Every color was designed by Him. Every inch, every height, every breadth, He said, I want it this way, this way, this way. So which means it talks about God is a God of order, number one. Number two, when He said, build me a sanctuary, and that sanctuary replicated the sanctuary which was there in heaven, where it is called as the holies among the holies there. And we know from the prophecy in 1844 that the Lord entered the most holy place, according to the prophecy, Daniel chapter 8 verse 14. And we know the replica which was there, it was just exactly the same replica which has been recorded of Moses' body built. Number two. Number three, you know there was ruins. The walls were absolutely gone. And you see during the time of Ezra, Nehemiah, okay, the wall was completed. Once the wall was completed, what did God say? You have to dedicate everything. You see? You have to dedicate everything. Those days that was a custom. That's the reason what we follow. When we have built a house, we dedicate. When we have children, we dedicate. Okay, anything which comes into the church, we dedicate. Why? What is the meaning of dedicate? You set aside only to be used for the purpose in the sanctuary. No issue. And that's one of the reasons what happened. Belshazzar, what Nebuchadnezzar got the utensils all the way from Jerusalem to Babylon was kept so sacredly. But what did Belshazzar do? He misused that, right? Right now, he took that cup, started to drink wine with the vessels which was ordained or separated to God. And was God angry? So which means God is telling to each one of us in that incident that whatever belongs to the storehouse of God is sacred. So we have to dedicate it. The same thing happened to the children of Israel. They dedicated the temple, they dedicated the wall. It doesn't mean that we have to concentrate, okay, this is dedicated, so that is very much sacred. No, it is not that way. Okay, then they started worshipping things rather than God. That's what happened. You see? Yes, that is dedicated, that's something, but God is the one. The Bible says very clearly in Psalms 127. What does the Bible say? Let us look into it. Okay, 127, 1 and 2. Okay, I want to read that one. Psalms 127, 1 and 2. The Bible says it very clearly. If the Lord doesn't build the house, and the person who builds is what? Is in vain. If the Lord doesn't protect,
Yes.
please read that, sister.
Except Jehovah build the house.
Uh-huh.
They labor in vain.
Okay, it is a greatest lesson for each one of us. We take pride, we say, oh, I have built this house, I have purchased this house, this is mine, you know. What does the Bible say? Unless he builds, whoever builds is absolutely nothing. And then,
Except Jehovah keep the city, the watchman waketh
Ah.
in vain.
How much ever, the speed camera or whatever cameras that you try to install to protect your house, if the Lord is not being around us and protecting, what happens? All your cameras and whatever it is absolutely what? Waste. So everything depends on God. The life of existence depends on God. The way we are living is because of Him. And that's one of the reasons the memory text what he talks about is mercy endures not for a period of time, not for a season, not for a reason, but what? Forever and ever and ever. When we talk about forever and ever, it is talking about His character, that He is the Alpha and Omega. Does that make sense? And the dedication of the Jerusalem wall began with two large choirs. Now, Anand will be very happy with this one. Okay. There were two large choirs. You know, those people, the Levites, the priests, and the singers were dedicated. Many times what happens? Oh, brother, sing, brother. Oh, you also sing, brother. You also, oh, brother. Okay, we do. You know, it is good. Everybody has to participate. Everybody has to somehow, what? Use the knowledge that God has been given to us. But I want to ask you a question. Before doing that, have we consecrated ourselves and dedicated ourselves to do the Lord? Many times I feel I'm very conservative, Christian, even though, there's a leverage for everything that means that we can't be judgmental or anything, but still, I believe when it comes to the worship, when we get into the sanctuary, what happens? We have to be absolutely mindful. If you have to look into 2 Chronicles chapter 27, you'll be able to understand how these people were absolutely segregated, separated, dedicated for a cause. They had to do only that. Nothing else. And you know that one thing? Because they were dedicated for that, they were paid for that cause. They used to come, rehearse, practice the way how they move, how they walk, how they stand. This was instructed by God. Many times we take God for granted, right? We do something, no problem. God will accept however we are. We are so naive. When we talk about worship and praise, God anticipates obeying. It's so beautiful. Listen to this one. Listen to this one, okay? The dedication service for Jerusalem wall began with two large choirs moving separately through Jerusalem and ultimately joining at the temple. There, the great sacrifice was performed and the people rejoiced with great joy. In fact, the joy of the people was so loud that even the distant enemies heard the celebration of the wall's completion. Listen to this one. Afterwards, Nehemiah made sure the delegate temple responsibilities so that the provision was arranged according to the law for all of the Levites and the temple servants. Listen to this one. And the people were excited to have the temple functioning again. They wanted to make sure that their supplies had been secured for those who serve the Lord, not just for the present moment, for even the future. And no wonder the Bible says very clearly, please bring the tithes and offerings to the storehouse so that there is no lack of food or meat. Usually what happens? Many times we take it so light, right? We can give next time. But the temple servants who were there working for, okay, and then before performing the law's dedication, the priests and the Levites purified themselves and the people as well at the gates and the walls. The purification rituals common in Israel symbolize cleansing from sin and separation from holiness. Before they could enter into the temple, what they're supposed to do? Purify. This is the greatest challenge for this modern day Christian or 21st century Christians. You know why? You know why is, I want to ask you this one. The preparation day is being given for the children of Israel before coming to worship. We know that seventh day is the Sabbath, and that's the way of our Lord and said we want to get up. But before Jesus could die, he died on a preparation day. That is on a Friday. That's what it says. And then that was called as a preparation day. Why did God call that as a preparation day? Have any idea?
Prepare everything before the Sabbath starts.
Okay, so before you come to worship God, prepare yourself. But what happens? Do we prepare? No, in the last moment we come. Have you consecrated the previous day before coming to the sanctuary? Is our thoughts, heart, mind, and soul being purified before we could come here without any prejudice, without any thoughts, just to come and see God and God alone? Usually what happens sometimes when we see in our churches, if there's a little break here and there, we started chatting, and sometimes we have a little joke, and a whole lot of things happen in the sanctuary, right, Sister Mary? Sometimes we have a little break and things like that. Most of the churches when you go, even big church, small church, wherever you go, and things like that. What happens? That little break, we try to talk something on our own and the whole lot of things. During the temple service, how serious it was before they could enter into the sanctuary. The priest has to purify himself. For that, what they should do? A red heifer. Have you heard about a red heifer? Okay. Without blemish, they burned that one and they took that ashes mixed with water. So what the priest has to do is before entering into any of the rituals, what he has to do? He has to go clean himself physically, take bath, put on new clothes. There was a separate robe being given. Only that he had to wear. And then sprinkle this water. If a priest or a Levite has touched a dead body, which was unclean. Why that was unclean? Because death is what? Because of sin. The wages of sin is death. So which means you have been polluted. Okay? So if you have been part of it, so that reminds of the pollution of what sin is all about. So when you're getting into the sanctuary or wanting to meet your Lord, which is the holiness of God, so you have to purify yourself before entering into it, right? So what happens? So there's to sprinkle that water. It symbolizes water. Okay? The process of purification. Or the second part is the sanctification. It is a daily pruning. Your cleansing should be done through the word and through the prayer. That's what it means to say. That makes sense? So they purify themselves and then enter into it. And they should cut a bull and make a sacrifice on behalf of whom? The priest, he has to do on behalf of him first, and then on behalf of the Israelites, and then enter into the sanctuary. Yes, sir.
There is a church in a village.
Uh-huh.
They also worship Sabbath.
Uh-huh.
Before they enter into the church, they are not Adventists,
Uh-huh.
but they worship on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Before they enter the church, they wash their feet.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have chairs, and they bow down and pray.
Mm-hmm.
And Jehovah is their God. By hearing that, there's another Adventist pastor, James, came to see the church. The Adventist church started from the last. They keep all the Old Testament, the festivals. They recite the whole Ten Commandments during the service. Is it still renewed today?
To be very honest with you, what is it so? Okay, we're talking about rituals and a whole lot of things, what they did, okay, in the Old Testament. If we apply that today, should we be able to practice the same thing? Good question. Should we?
Jesus came to fulfill the law, and that gave us the new period of grace that we're in now, so we don't have to do all that stuff, but we go to the high priest, Jesus, who's our intercessor. He's the one we go to now. So.
But can we be able to learn a lesson through the principle what is God has given to us, right?
Oh, the lesson there.
Yeah. So the purification process, how they did show how seriously they took what sin is all about. We may not be able to follow, but of course, when we come to the sanctuary, don't you think so? It would be nice that you purify yourself physically and spiritually as we enter into the throne room of God. Does that make sense? It's not like of course there are people sometimes, they find the church, they somehow the Holy Spirit speak to them, they just enter into the fine. But what about the people who know about the real truth in every hand? When we come to the most holiest of holies, when we see the Lord being there in front of us, when we know the presence of the Lord is there, we know who He is all about. We go further, you'll be able to find a very important implications of it. Okay, listen to the statements, it's so beautiful. Okay, it says, the purification service incorporated forgiveness for sin. As people humbled themselves before God and washed, they will acknowledge that they needed help. Right? Who doesn't need help spiritually today? Everyone needs. Because all have sinned and come short of the glory of what? God. So when we need something, like for example, I need $1,000. When I come here, and Brother Adam, I can't be able to put my leg like this and say, Brother Adam, please give me $1,000. What will you say, brother?
I'll think about it.
You think about it. Okay? Or anything for the matter. You see, but we are coming into the phase, to face our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. We have to humble ourselves. We have to be clean. Of course, He's the one who makes us clean. But we have to go to Him so that He can cleanse us. So how should we be able to? And take the examples of the Bible. Okay? The blind man Bartimaeus. What was he doing? How did he call? Oh, son of man, please have mercy on me. What about the lady who touched the hem? How did she come? What about the person who was a ruler of, a commander-in-chief when his daughter died? How did he come and approach? Entirely different. You take anybody in the scriptures, they never took. Oh, no problem, he is there. Okay, that is his right. Okay, let him go. Grace is there. Okay, fine, let me do whatever I want to, and then he is there to forgive me. Can we take grace for granted? You see, the Lord in His own infinite mercy has shown all this way for you and me so that for what? We can be able to be a part of Him. Worshiping God has a different meaning altogether. Listen to this statement, okay? The major part of the dedication ceremony involved music and worship, right? And of course, I like the music and worship what we have, okay? Praise God with everything. That's the first. The Levites, the singers gathered in Jerusalem. Many of them lived beyond Jerusalem. They came to the city only when it was their turn to minister. And then the priest, the Levites, the singers led the celebrations. God provision for them through thanksgiving. Verbally acknowledging what God has done and singing praises to Him with harps, cymbals, another stringed instrument, accompanied the two large choirs as they sung and separately walked through Jerusalem, finally joining again at the temple and singing loudly. Literally, the phrase states that the singers were heard, the joy could not be contained or suppressed as it was demonstrated. And then, what happened? When the foundation of the temple was laid, after the return from Babylonian exile in 537 and 536 BC, the people, the priests, and the Levites praised the Lord. The same thing now occurred in Nehemiah's time after the completion of Jerusalem wall. Everyone praised the Lord, and two appointed choirs expressed thanks to the Lord for their accomplished work. And listen to this beautiful statement. We have one thing. Okay. The people rejoiced greatly. Literally, in verse 43, it says that God made them to rejoice. The word which has been given there called as Sabbath, which is joy. So, it appears nearly 7 times in that same verse of 44. And then, the word appears in the chapter exactly 7 times, which will strike the reader as significant. Why? Because the number 7 is a complete number when you talk about, the biblical concept of number. And then, joy is defining aspect of worship, but so is reverence to God. So joy and reverence are intermingled. Listen to the statement. Joy is one part when you sing praises to Him. They sang loudly with a choir. That's one part of it. And the second part of it is called as reverence. Joy and reverence are intermingled. Listen to this carefully. Sometimes in this 21st century, we express our praising God in singing with joy. Right? Loudly. It is not wrong. That is the first part of the story. The second part of the story is when you sing for joy, can we be able to maintain the same reverence with it? Many a times what happens is this, they misunderstand. Many people come so soberly as though they are not being able to do anything and things like that. They don't feel the joy when you see them singing or preaching or whatever it is. It is just so in the name of reverence. They're not showing their emotion. But in another side, there are some group of people who show so much of joy and emotions, forgetting about what? The reverence. Does it make sense? And that is called as emotionalism. The Bible, in His own infinite mercy, through His Word, God can never be mocked. How can we incorporate between joy and reverence? Many people say, David danced for God, so we can dance the way how we want to for God. Is it wrong in dancing? No. But how can we dance with reverence? How can you sing with reverence? Does that make sense?
We can sing with reverence by understanding the meaning of each and every word we sing.
Absolutely.
But, dancing with reverence, I don't know.
I think it's in the preparation of your heart before the service when you are preparing for the worship.
Mhm.
If you can get your heart focused on God, that reverence will be there.
Let me ask you a question. Okay, it's always nice to contemplate on it and things like that. Come to an analysis through the Word. What is right? Okay, how can we be able to go about it? How can we improve our spiritual way of worship when we come to the sanctuary? That's more important. Ultimately, we're worshiping God, who is holy and who is righteous, who is all knowledgeable, our Creator. I want to ask this question. When we look into the Word, some of the about the praise and worship team and things like that, and they sing with so much enthusiasm and whole lot of things like that. How can we differentiate? Whether the worship or the way how they're singing is incorporated with reverence? Because don't forget one thing. For every, Newton's third law, everybody knows Newton's third law, right? Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So, Satan's mode of deceiving his people is he counterfeits everything. Like, for example, if there's a true worship, there's a counterfeit of another worship. There's a true music, godly music, and God also put, Satan also incorporates that and tries to counterfeit every other. Do you understand that one? Does it make sense? For everything, there is, the same trying to incorporate. How can we be able to differentiate the counterfeits?
Even today,
Yeah, the genuine first. You
Huh?
have to differentiate the counterfeit.
Now, I didn't get you, Sister, once again.
I said we have to know the genuine first before we can differentiate the counterfeit.
Okay, how do we know it? That's the problem. Because many people say, I told you, if you have to take the two words called joy and reverence, okay? Some of them are called as emotionalists, okay? Sing and to that extent, and they believe that they're praising God and, with all happiness and things like that. And as I told you, when some people are so, like this, they do it. But how can we be able to interpret this one? How can we know this is true or this is false?
see, even in our WGTS 91.9 radio, sometimes we listen to gospel rap, rap music, and jazz, rock. It's all there to satisfy the youngsters. But when we sing with meaning, with spirit, we speak louder. We don't sing very tired or lazy. That's not the way it should be. But I have seen in programs and TV channels and other things, people dance and stuff like that. But that's leading to some other way. But I don't feel in my heart that's more reverence when they dance.
Yeah, we have our opinions in that one, but listen to this one, okay? See whether we can come into a small consensus how, we can be able to get things in. It says, if a worship service has respect for God, but no joy, then it becomes dry and stiff. On the other hand, when only joy is incorporated and reverence is not taken into account, The worship service tends to be filled with emotionalism rather than truth. And then the Bible says, therefore, our worship services must include both facets, that is, reverence and joy work together to create a right worshipful atmosphere. And the Bible says, the Israelites understood the need for the balance as they rejoiced loudly with all their heart, while at the same time praising God for what He has done. The worship was based on truth and the deeds of God, not on emotionalism. Does it show some light from the Word? Some light, some light. When we talk about worship, there's a different facet of how we will be able to describe about it. We are not judgmental on anybody. God knows what is best. But one thing we can learn and draw a line for each one of our lives that when we worship God, let us worship with joy. Let us experience Him. I think so. When we talk about God, the simple phenomena is, even though, I ask you a question, even though God is not being seen, we can experience Him, right? Every individual experiences in a different angle altogether. The way how you experience God is not the way how I experience God. The way how you experience God is not the way how she experiences God. Okay? What happens with humanity is, ultimately, as Brother Adam was talking about, he simply said that He is worthy of all our praises for one reason, because His mercy have endured in each one of our lives. And the demonstration of worship should reach heaven. And once it reached heaven, what happened to the children of Israel? They sang when things happened in their life. There was no way they can hide their joy within themselves. What is it? They expressed it absolutely, okay, to the world and said, this is what the Lord has been able to do for me.
One other thing I want to add.
Yes, sir.
The word of God says, fear God and give glory.
Yes.
So the reverence is utmost important when you worship God.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And in fact, if you have to take to the sanctuary service, most probably each one of them away, you know, the priest, before he could enter into the presence of God, those days, when we talk about the most holy place, the presence of the Lord was there, right? The presence of the Lord was there. So the priest, if he had to enter, of course, we talk about the rituals, how he has to purify himself, but they tied a belt, you know. Have you seen? They tied a belt. And there was a bell ringing. And I think so in the Catholic churches even today, you know, they have a different garment altogether. You know, white garment, and they have a black thing. Have you seen that? Okay. Of course, they don't have a bell and things like that, you know. Why they still have that one? Why do you think so, the priest?
Because if he dies in the presence of God, then
The simple phenomenon is this. If the priest had an iota of sin, how much? An iota of sin. What will happen? Collapse. Nobody will enter into the most holy place. Why? Because everybody is sinful. If the priest himself has sinned and just gone there, you can't enter the home again. So they have to put him through. When we talk about Moses, when we talk about worship, I don't know what Moses do. What did God say? When he saw the burning bush, the presence is there. So please remove your sandals. And that's one of the reasons I always tell every Sabbath, when the Lord is in His holy temple, then all the earth will be silence.
I would like to add a few points. Going back to the idea of preparation, someone told me that preparation for worship is just as important as worship.
Absolutely right.
And fellowship after worship, or even during worship, is just as important as worship. Something to think about. I never thought about preparation as being, that important, because he was encouraging me, this person, who actually came at 12 o'clock midnight a few years ago while I was preparing this place or doing something. And so he comes and asks me to pray. I mean, who would open the door at midnight when somebody comes? And then I was telling him about our church and how much time I spent to prepare. And he said this one thing which I will never forget. Preparation is just as important as worship.
Yes.
And going to the other point, which is joy and reverence, I would say that everything has its place. Reverence, joy, most holy place, holy place. Are there degrees of holy places? Yes, there's a most holy place. There's the holy place. And then there was the outer place, outer court, where there was music and all this thing were going on, whether it's in dance form or other forms. So let us not be at the same time judgmental, because being judgmental can rob you of the joy of how others are doing it. You may not agree with the taste of other people, because music is also very subjective. It's not always fully objective, where we can say this is always right and this is always wrong. Because Satan can always come through many forms, both through very soft music, like New Age music, even meditational music, or even fast music. So let us not think that somehow Satan cannot enter if you only listen to soft music. So we have to exercise good judgment on the one hand, but avoid being judgmental when we see other Christians or other people expressing their joy in ways that you may not relate to, we may not relate to. We are called to actually simply praise God with everything we have. God did not say, go and figure out how the others are doing it. And so, by engaging in that kind of a judgmental attitude, even though we are well-intentioned, we're robbing ourselves of the joy of actually praising God. We can praise God and with other methods and means that and pray for them and get to know the other people who may be praising in ways that you do not approve of. And so let's remember to put everything in perspective, not just go like black and white, as though you are the ultimate arbiter of what is good music or true praise or not. Because we have to remember that we are living in a fallen world. So let's be careful about being balanced about how we worship and how we judge other people's worship.
Praise God. Thank you very much for that. Okay. Here, one thing is for sure. The Bible says it. Nobody can be able to judge anyone. No way. That's the reason we told very clearly that all have sinned, all have the poor way, but it's only the experience that you have with God and the expression that you'll be able to show what had happened or what the Lord is doing to you in your life. That is much more important. In those days, I like this one. Have you been to the mosque anytime? Have you been to the mosque anytime? Have you been to the mosque? Have you been there? How they been able to, they follow the old tradition system. And of course, when brothers start to work, they also follow the old tradition system. It makes sense. But at the same time, we have of course, the modern way, how we worship, how we sit and worship. That doesn't mean that God is not going to accept us and accept them because they follow the same method. It is not the methodology, it is the experience and the fellowship that you have with your God. How will lead you? Where to go? How to walk. And the joy is within. Once it is there within, what happens with each one of us, we express it the way how the Lord really wants us to. Okay. Any questions in this regard? Any questions in this regard?
I've never been to a mosque, but I had people say when they are in the mosque worshiping, if even somebody go and tell them that family member died, they will not come over.
Oh, they will not. Oh, yeah, they are very strict. Muslims are absolutely very strict when it talk about zakat. Zakat means prayer. And when they were in the mosque, anything happens, they not divert their mind at all. Of course, in our churches, sometimes what happens when a phone call comes, we, even though in the church we will not think what is happening, we might be able to take, I will just go and come, I don't know how you are doing that way. Okay.
That reminds me, I just visited the Golden Temple in India
Mhm.
2 months ago.
Mhm.
And when we went there, the way we have to cover our
Yeah,
head
yeah, yeah.
and all that stuff.
Mhm.
But I was told that they wash that around the Golden Temple with milk and ghee.
Yeah.
So it's so slippery.
Yeah.
And one of my sisters, she just didn't have the head covering on, and people are watching.
Mhm.
And they came and told her to put the head covering on because it's a reverence to them. So I was just telling to them that how reverently they are treating the real God and they are worshiping. So how much more we have.
Yeah, when we know the
Be
real
careful and
God.
worship God, the real Creator.
And to be very honest with you, sometimes, this is my personal experience, I feel ashamed of myself how I worship God sometimes. This was arrogant, humbleness. Somehow that is beyond and but when I see these people like Muslims or Hindus, that they go to the temple, the way how they have it, I wish, I remember they put the song, give me that old time religion, give me that old time religion. Just imagine if the same thing would have been there and followed till today, it would have been, the world would have been a better place, that's what I was thinking, okay. So what I mean to say is this, okay, ultimately one thing is for sure, as we learn this lesson, one thing is for sure, God is worthy of all our praises, amen? Number one. Number two, okay, let us incorporate that worship with what? Joy and reverence incorporated with it. Number two. Number three, and don't forget, our God is a systematic God. And He anticipates you and me to what? Be systematic in every angle, not simply take it for granted, especially when we come for church. That's one of the reasons. The purification or the preparation day is given so that we will prepare our heart, mind and soul. No wonder the Bible says it very, very clearly when you come into the church, when you find that you are hated your brother and if you feel that, don't put your offering here. Does that make sense? That makes sense? What it says, go first, rectify, and then put your offering and then I will be able to accept it.
When God Himself says it, we have to do it.
The problem with us is we only say, sister, when it comes to doing, and then we give a lot of excuses. That's the problem. When it comes to saying, everybody knows. When it comes to doing, we give excuses. Why? That's what I told you last time I asked you a question. If you are supposed to be here at 9 o'clock for church, we are not here for 9 o'clock. And if I ask you a question, brother, you are supposed to be here at 9 o'clock, Sister Mary, why didn't you come? What will you say to Sister Mary? Yesterday night I was so tired, I was coming in the traffic and a lot of things happened. Today I went to sleep, I was unable to. I was supposed to prepare food for the church, I was unable to make it up on time. My father was not well and my cousin came and tried to visit me. And you see, that's the way to be. But of course, we will not stop there. Every individual, including a pastor or priest like me, always go and try to do that. We all are just the same. But what we can learn every day is what? Try to move closer with God. See that we can eliminate this stuff slowly. And as we come to God, and maybe be able to guide us through the laws of righteousness. Okay, that's any question. That's what is talked about. Worshiping God and praising God every time. Any questions?
One other example of preparation is, take food for example. When we eat any kind of food, what happens first? Unless you eat fruits as they are. What do we do?
Yeah.
We have to prepare.
Yeah.
We have to heat it up. We have to.
Thank you for reminding. I wanted to say that, but somehow that eliminated it. Especially Indian food, my God, it is not like it will take forever. Here, America is so blessed. You know why? Pizzas, anything, burgers, everything is ready. Just simply come, put it in the oven, 5 minutes, everything is done. Your food is ready. Indian cooking is never like that way at all. preparation, very important, okay?
And therefore, worship can be compared to consuming God's word, or rather, His presence, His glory. And therefore, to be able to consume it correctly, we have to prepare and be ready to consume. So,
And that's
the
what
importance of worship.
And the Bible says, if the soil is not fertile, you know, how will the word of God sink in your heart? So unless you prepare yourself, how can you be able to serve? That's what the lesson is all about. Any questions? Any questions? Okay, Sabbath school offering.